Okay, now it's time to go through our home sketch grading sheets. So you'll need to make sure you have yours. You should have some from class, but you also have more in your student book. So here's one for 4th grade, and it has 7 things to check for. This is one for 5th and 6th, and has 8 things to check for. And this one's for 7th and 8th, and it has 9 things to check for. Okay, so they demand a little bit more with each grade. So here's what we're going to do. I'm going to start with this one, and we're going to go through these pretty quick. So let's do number 1, proper page. Okay, yes, we have the next available page in my book, but this should be your first page because it's sketch number 1. Okay, but don't go all the way through your book and put it in some weird spot. We need to put these home sketches together in an order. Proper heading. Yes, we do. We have the proper heading. We have a reason why we did it. Yes, we do. Do we have a good viewpoint that shows that we observed it? Okay, yes, we did it's fine. We didn't get really creative with it, but that's fine. Line. Do we have different types of line? We can have, now here's examples, okay? It may include weight differences, that means light and dark, curved, zigzag lines, wisp, repeating lines, implied lines, contour lines, horizon lines, and other line forms. Okay, so this isn't a definitive list. There's lots more. So let's look real quick. Okay, we have curved lines. We have some repeating lines here. Okay, and here. We have zigzag lines. Ta-da! Right there. We have straight lines also. This has straight lines in it. We have parallel lines. We don't have any perpendicular lines, but we do have some parallel ones here and here. Do we have some different weighted lines? Well, what I can do is I can come through here. Hang on, wind's fixing to blow all my stuff away. And I can add a little depth to this by making some of these lines darker. Give my fork a little bit of depth here. So I can have some different line weight too. Okay. Add a little bit to my fork, right? Okay. So I got lots of different kinds of lines. Space, inside and outside the object. It takes up about half the page. Yep, it's pretty decently big. Now shapes are formed by connecting and closing the lines that we draw. Yes, we have made a whole shape here by connecting. I didn't leave part of it open and guessing what my object is. Okay, so this one is pretty good. So we can go ahead and fill out this top part. Okay, observational sketch number 1. You could do this first if you wanted to also. And put your name. Put my name, Mrs. Bones. Okay. And we can also check if we want point punches. You could have some color to this, so I could color it a little bit. I can put the surface that the object's sitting on. Now right now it's on my sketchbook, so I could theoretically draw some of this, or I could have put it on the table, and I could have drawn some of the wood here, and that would have been a good background, okay, or what it was on. And this last one is a background. Now if you have your background and what it's sitting on is the same thing, then you can only get one of those things. So I could have set it up like this, you know, and put it on a table, and then I also would have had some background too. Okay, or I could have done something like this, and then I would have had the surface and some background back there. Okay, so I would have had both. But it just depends. For this one, I just wanted to show y'all. So if you want to change what you're sitting on and to get the surface in the background, you can do that. When we're done, I'm going to fill in all of this. I'm going to get your final grade, and this has a typo. It says total point punches deducted. Yep, that shouldn't have deducted on here. So it should say total point punches right here, so that I can easily tell how many point punches you get here. So let's move on to 5th and 6th grade. Now remember, we did all the way up to shapes, so this one has surface, line, and texturing. Okay, we have some surface lines on here, so that counts. There's not really any texture to this because it's pretty smooth. If you wanted to, you can put a little shading in here to make it look like it has a little bit of a shine to it. If you're in the other grades, okay, this will give it a little bit of a shiny look. Okay, so you could do something like that, and then we'll move on to the 7th and 8th grade. Values and form are created through using gradients, contrast, and perspective lines. Okay, so there's not really any perspective lines with this fork unless we're going to get a little more creative, which 7th and 8th grade's supposed to, and looked at it kind of like this. Now what does that do? We have surface area, so that would get us some extra points. We also have perspective, and look at the difference between this. We got a light side and a dark side. See how we could have done that? And you notice the shading it makes here. Okay, so this would be really cool for perspective. This is awesome for a way to look at it, okay? And you can add these values and stuff in it. And here's even some shading at the bottom, some shading here. So this is a step up from just drawing a plain fork like this. But if you're in 4th grade, this is just fine for you. 7th and 8th graders, I do expect you to add a little bit of form to this, okay? And even maybe some perspective. Now 4th grade, if you want to try stuff like that, you go for it. That's awesome. Think of some cool perspectives. 5th and 6th grade too. So now that we have this finished, you're going to take your paper and you can either place it on this side, which is okay, or you can glue it to the back, okay? But it has to be one of the two. Don't put it like way over here, okay? You want to keep it on this page or right next to it so that when it's opened up you can see it, all right? Okay, so this concludes your observational sketch tutorial, and I hope you enjoyed it. We'll see you next time.